Yeah, Celeste soundtrack on vinyl. Got it. Listening to it. Good. Been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Good game.
Yeah, good game.
Do you have the first one on Switch also?
No.
Okay.
No, so I'm just starting with 2. Fortunately, I've been told you don't really need to play the other ones. So
You do not.
yeah, so that's cool. Taking some getting used to. It's a little frustrating.
Does it have the English and the Japanese voices, or just the English voices in that version?
So far, I think I'm only seeing English. I haven't
Damn
found
it.
any option to switch it. Yeah, it is a bit weird. Like, everybody's Scottish.
Yeah.
So that takes some getting used to.
Because they definitely don't look like they'd be Scottish.
Yeah, it's a bit. Like, everybody is Scottish except for, like, a handful of characters. Like, the guy who looks like Lancer from Fate. And then Pyra. But otherwise, it's not too bad. I think I just probably need to spend a little bit more time with it to kind of get it down. Otherwise, I don't really think I've been up to much of anything else.
No Straight Roads.
Oh yeah, I played the
PS4
little the Christmas
event.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, did a little bit of that. It's cute. It's fun.
Yeah, you got to show me the Switch version.
Yeah, I showed you a little bit of that.
Hiccupy.
Yeah, just a smidge.
Because that's the thing, it's not even, like, consistently bad.
Yeah.
It looks fine, like he was showing it to me, and, well, it's the main, like, town area, whatever the fuck. That looked really rough.
Yeah,
but,
frame drops, a lot of assets missing.
But when he first started the boss fight, it looked fine.
Yeah.
But then it would periodically,
yeah.
whoop, and then be fine again, and then drop again.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Yeah, because otherwise it's a pretty good game. But yeah, I think that's it. Haven't really been watching movies. Been watching videos about movies. So.
There you go.
Okay.
Like video essays, or?
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Just Cinema Sins.
No, I don't waste my time with that.
Whatever, I love Sims.
No, but Cinemassacre. Yeah, I've been watching some of those.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
Cinemassacre.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, I think that about does it for me.
Mr. John.
This is my first proper day off after like 12 straight. I'm very tired.
You sound tired.
I'm a little tired. I'm a little tuckered out.
Oh,
I started watching iZombie again. I really like that show. I realized I like supernatural, like, police drama. Like, I love Lucifer, iZombie, yeah.
What about that movie, Bright?
Or
is that more
supernatural?
fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like a mix, like a hybrid. Like, they tried to go fantasy-ish. I
heard it
personally
sucks.
like the idea. It's just boring. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just boring. Which
That's
is a
even
big
worse.
difference.
Yeah,
Which is
I'd
a very
rather-
big difference.
I'd rather take bad, like...
Yes,
Ed
I
Wood
agree.
movies are
I agree.
bad, but they're not boring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea was good, though. Like, fantasy, like orcs and elves in our society,
Yeah.
gritty, But the problem is they tried to be a little too edgy. That was
What's
the
up with Will
main
Smith
thing.
doing, like, crap-tier movies lately?
Nah.
That's the majority of his career, really.
Yeah.
Whatever,
We
Independence
just
Day
liked
is
some
a
of them.
gem.
See, that's a dog shit movie.
I mean,
but
yeah,
liked it.
Independence Day is pretty cringe,
It's
really.
so good.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Again, John, as I always have to correct, there's a difference between liking something and it being good.
No, it's
There's
so bad.
very two different things.
Oops.
You can
What do you
eat
mean,
dog shit
oops?
every day.
Hey,
But
President Whitmore's speech really gets me though. Nothing really.
Okay.
I'm saving up my gaming juice for Cyberpunk.
There you go. A few more days, apparently.
Allegedly.
It's
Allegedly a
gonna
few
hit
more
preload day tomorrow, so as long as they at least let me preload it, there we go.
Yeah.
Mal?
I've been doing a lot of work. It's the majority of my time. I watched Mank on Netflix, which was good.
Oh, yeah, watch that.
It was super interesting. And then I finished The Queen's Gambit, which was nice. Really enjoyed that show. Don't want to play chess because of it, but it was interesting to see how her story went. And then
Well, why play chess when you can just adopt an orphan?
right?
And
It's way
they'll
easier,
play it.
right? And then not too much gaming. Reading and writing mostly. That's been about it. Yeah,
About you, mate.
Spent a lot of time on work.
A lot of working times.
Yeah.
Yeah, the work season's been busy for me, so unfortunately it just goes without saying that retail sucks ass, especially during the holidays.
Yeah.
So there's always that. But, yeah. Anything else?
No.
That's it.
That's it. What about you?
Sorry, I was trying to stall him to...
No,
there we
you're
go, got my
fine.
notes up just in time. All right.
More
More Yakuza. I'm still going to put a spoiler warning, even though this isn't...
Oh, I thought we were stalling.
Shut the fuck up. Anyways, spoiler warning, but not really, because it's a side story that you're probably not going to do, because unless you're like me, then you do every single side quest. But yeah, it was pretty good, though. It was interesting. So, I'm about halfway through the game, and I was walking down one of the high-end areas, and a girl stops my character, and she's just like, "Oh, hey, I've been looking for you like this whole time." And she's just like, "I haven't seen you in a while." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, that," because he'd been in jail for like the last 18 years. And but he can't really remember her, and he's trying to. And then he's just like, "Okay, well, it's good seeing you." He goes, "It's a shame I can't remember you because you're kind of cute." And she's just like, "Oh, haha." She goes, "That's funny." And then she goes, "Oh, right, so anyways, you saved my life when, however long ago, back in Kamurocho." And he was just like, "Oh, okay, well, so obviously that was before I went to jail." In his head, of course, he's just thinking that. He goes, "Oh, that's, been a while." And she goes, "Yeah, so I don't know where you've been. I'm guessing, you moved here and started a new life or whatever." And he goes, "Yeah, not really on purpose." And so then, so they're doing that, and he goes, "Well, I'll tell you what, let's celebrate." And she goes, "Why do you make it sound like I just got out of prison?" And he goes, "That really hits close to home." He goes, "But anyways, let's go do something." So she talks about, and then she also mentioned how she'd been in the hospital for like this whole time. She had like a real bad illness, and that's why she thanked him for saving her or whatever. Yeah. So anyway, so you go on your date, and you decide to go to the arcade. At first I said the bar, but then I didn't realize she's a little younger, so then he was just like, awkward. Okay, what's next? So then I had to make another choice in it because I couldn't go to the bar. Yeah. And then so we went to the arcade, and it's all fun. She makes me win some plushes for her in the crane game, all nice and sweet. Yeah. And then she looks at the photo booth, and then the game blacks out, and I go, did my game crash? Like, because I was just like, because she was really focused on the photo booth. Yeah. And then it cuts, they're outside of the arcade, and then she says, "Well, thanks, that was a lot of fun." And then you guys are looking at the picture you guys took together, and he's like all tall and trying to be all cute with her. And she goes, "I was really glad we got to take this photo together." And he goes, "Yeah, no, definitely. You want to go get something to eat?" And she goes, "Sure." So they go off, and then the guy who works at the arcade like runs up behind him, and he's like kind of like staring at him. And then like I'm just like, okay, did I miss something? Because it just like it felt like a skip, like because the screen blacks out, and then it feels like it was fast forwarded just a bit. So then they go to the cafe, and I'm just still kind of thinking to myself like, that's really weird. So they go to the cafe, and then he sits down, and he's just like, all right. The waitress comes up and brings him a cup of water and starts walking away, and he goes, "Oh, hey, my date wants a drink." And then she goes, "Oh, okay." And then as she's walking away, she stops and looks back and says, "Guess he's waiting for her." And then she goes to go get a glass of water, and then so that point I got goosebumps. I was just like, what the fuck? This is so weird. I go, what the? Because this just came out of nowhere. It's just some random psycho. It's not like they're like trying to build character for him or anything. And so she comes back, and then he asks her, he goes, "What do you want to eat?" And she goes, "Well, I'm not really hungry, so I'll take some orange juice." And then he orders like, "Okay, I'll have some omurice, blah, blah, blah," and then she'll have an orange juice. So they order it. And then later on, they're finally done eating, so they get up, and he goes, "All right, well, let's keep going." And then they get up, and then the waitress just looks at him really weird, and she looks at the table, and the glass of orange juice is still full sitting there. Oh. So then they're walking around, and then there's some guys, it cuts to a scene where these guys are like outside of like a gambling hall, like a pachinko hall or whatever, and they're just like, "Damn it, fuck, we're out of money. Hey, look at that jackass all by himself. Let's go get him." And then so they run over there, and Ichiban kind of like gets in front of her, and he's just like, he goes, "Stand back." He goes, "I'll take care of this shit." And they're just like, "Whatever, you fucking crazy jackass." So they fight him, and he kicks their asses, and he turns around and goes, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "I mean, I am because you're here." And then she looks up at the sky, and it's getting dark, and she goes, "It's almost nighttime. I guess that means our date's almost over." And she goes, "Come on, there's one more place I want to go." So they go to the lake Ferris wheel area near the pier. And it's a really beautiful area. I love going there because it's like a light up Ferris wheel and stuff at night and everything, and it's all really beautiful. And so him and her are looking over the water, and then Ichiban is just, he's always feels so alone, and he tells her, he goes, that he had a good time or whatever, and she goes, "Well," she goes, "what else can I say?" She's like, "You're all very important to me," and she goes, "Ever since I was in the hospital," she goes, "I wasn't able to leave, so because of that, I always heard your voice, and that's what drew me to you." She goes, "I would always hear you yell, 'Hey, this,' or blah, blah, blah." She's like, "It's such a loud voice." And she goes, and I'd also know what season it is, because if you come in with a sweater, it would be the winter. If you came in with whatever, shorts or whatever, I knew it was the summer. And then he goes, oh, okay, cool. He goes, I mean, I guess if I knew you were watching, I probably would have dressed cooler. And then she was just like, she goes, that's fine. I like the way you dress, whatever. She goes, your hair's all crazy, all blah. She goes, but you're handsome no matter what. And she goes, that's when I knew I loved you. And then he goes, he like starts freaking out, and he's just like, because no one's ever told him that. So he's just like, he goes, whoa, like, you love me? And she goes, is that okay? And then a cop comes up to him and he goes, hey, you crazy? What are you causing a scene for? What are you doing? And he goes, oh, sorry, I didn't make a scene. I was just... And there's no one there when he looks to the right of him. And then he's looking there. And then he looks at the cop and he goes, don't worry, officer. I'm going home. I'm not trying to cause any trouble. And the cop's still kind of being a dick about it. Go figure, the cop being a dick. And then, so then he kind of looks back, and then he finally pulls out the photo, and it's just him in the pose of the picture and everything. And then he says, until it's my turn to go, he goes, and then it just fades out and everything. He goes, and I was just like, what? I go, what the fuck is this? I go, where the fuck did this come from? It was so sweet. I'm just surprised, though, because I guess what they try to do is they try to reward you for doing as much as you can by trying to show you a little bit more of Ichi in the side quests, without them having to be plot-destroying things if you don't do them, which is, always really nice. But yeah, no, I just really like that one, just because, as far as the Yakuza series goes, I've never seen them go some metaphysical ghost shit like that, or whatever it is. Obviously... they don't explain it clearly, but I guess he fell in love with some girl when he was younger, and she died, and so obviously they never really got to have a relationship with each other, and then so, he still thinks of her from time to time. And, I just thought that was really interesting.
So sad.
Yeah, no, all this is going to seem menial after that. But, so I got to appear on a podcast, he's... my friend, I don't know what the fuck, I just started having a stroke there. I got to appear on a podcast of our friends. Daniel from That Damn Brand invited me to be in his spin-off podcast, The Domain. So I got to record on there. We talked about the current gen shenanigans, some conversation we've talked about, some new stuff that kind of spurred as we just kind of, we're spitting as we go and not really had like a fixed, path. And it was a lot of fun. We also talked about VR gaming since he's been into that for a while and I'm new to it. I have a newer device and we kind of talked about the pros and cons of everything. And that was a lot of fun. And then something interesting related to podcasts as well. There was this one podcast I found out about recently called the Legit Korean, and she teaches you casual Korean phrases in each episode. Like one phrase per episode, so you can just kind of learn it well. And she teaches you the functions of it, societal, whatever, because she's actually from Korea. But her English is very good, and she teaches you. But the problem is, when I looked at the timestamp, when I listened to the very last episode, it was from 2018, like October 2018, and she goes, all right, well, I got a really good job offer, like this opportunity I cannot pass up. It's like a big deal. I can't talk about it right now. She goes, but I promise I will be back. It is going to be another episode. And, I won't abandon this podcast. That was in October 2018. Just 3 weeks ago, she came back. Coincidentally enough, 2 years. I got to the podcast 2 years too late, and she just happens. That would have been a 2-year wait for me that I got to completely bypass because she's back now. She's doing lessons again and everything, and she seems to be doing well. So I'm guessing maybe COVID has given her some time because shit's being canceled a lot. And where that's going to segue is I talked about how there's been a COVID outbreak in the entertainment scene. It's gotten even worse. There's a lot of actors and actresses have been at least exposed in testing. Not so many positives, thankfully, but still getting exposed. So a lot of movies and shows have been halted. And in the music scene, there's been a huge outbreak. So there was the couple of idols I was talking about last time, and then one of the really popular artists, Chunga, recently got it as well. She tested positive. The problem is she just came into contact with a lot of people. Twice, Momoland, several other individual members. Sana was the one who came into contact with her from Twice. Yeonjung from Cosmic Girls, a lot of other people. Because, and this is why you need to be careful, I cannot excuse them for this, unfortunately. They happened to be at a birthday party together that the girl was having at her house that they all attended. Because they're all really close and all used to be in this group together. But the problem is, guys, we're still in the middle of a fucking pandemic. And even though Korea's treating a lot better, look at the issues they have if they decide to break these rules. The sad thing, though, because a lot of people are giving Chung a flack for this. And I'm like, it's not her fault. Because she didn't get it from the party. She just, you can wag your finger at her a bit that she went to that party because you shouldn't have, blah, blah, blah. But what happened is she hurt her arm. And the hospital that she went to get her arm fixed had a COVID patient and they didn't know. So that's how she got it. And this is why you just need to be careful, because all it takes is one person.
Yeah.
And thankfully, all the aforementioned artists I mentioned, other than Chunga, have tested negative. They all got tested within the last 24 hours of me recording this. But this is why you got to be careful. They also had an award show recently, and they were all wearing masks. They were only going up to the stage one at a time, only in the groups that always are with each other, stuff like that. But it's still, in my opinion, a risk that doesn't need to be taken. I mean, I love K-pop performances and award shows and stuff like that. But this kind of stuff can be on break as long, because they were doing stuff when this was really bad. They were doing shit like broadcasting performances from their own studio away from everyone else. But now they're starting to interact again and everything, and this is just a classic case example of why that's not safe. This is the exact reason, when people tell me, oh, I only went to that family gathering for Thanksgiving. I'm only going to that event for Christmas, whatever. It's just the one time we're going to be safe. I hear that all the time. Yeah. And most people do get lucky. By percentile, the average person goes in and out, gets lucky. But you get a case like this. I had a coworker recently. I hadn't seen him in like 3 weeks. He had COVID. I didn't know. So he came back from that, said it was the most awful experience of his life. He's usually a generally healthy guy, no underlying conditions, got it, said it was the worst. And he sounded awful too. Like, no offense to him, but he just sounded like he had gotten the shit kicked out of him. And like, even though he thankfully tested negative, then still waited another week before coming back to work. Thank you for him being responsible. Right. Because he said he just wanted to be goddamn sure he didn't give this to anyone else. Because he said after experiencing that, he was never a truther or a doubter or anything like that. But he just said, he wanted to be safe. And I appreciate that from him. And yeah, he looked awful. No offense to that guy, but yeah, that's the thing. And then the worst thing is, I told him, I said, I'm just really worried because I have underlying conditions, so I'm not going to be quite as lucky as you. I'm not just going to get my ass kicked. I'm probably going to die at the end of that. Yeah. So I said, that doesn't seem like a fun way to go out from what you've been explaining to me. And he goes, no. He goes, everyone says this shit about, oh, the flu, this and that. And he goes, this is not the flu. He goes, I was in pain. He goes, this was awful. So please be safe out there, everybody, I'm a little disappointed. Idols are supposed to be this societal figure that everyone's supposed to follow the example of. So when shit like this happens, it's like, it's not good. It's like how the older boomers here that don't believe in COVID or I don't give a shit, my freedoms and all that stuff. Yeah. They're setting this example that's like trickling down and unfortunately making some people just not give a fuck. And they think too, I heard some cringy younger people, even some Zoomers talking about it, when they're just like, I'll be fine. I don't care if you get it. The whole point is, I could get it because of you. You can go get COVID all you want. You can get it 3 times in a row if you want. Plus, apparently, it causes ED, so don't get that. You do not want that. So there's that. Where can everybody find your stuff, Shiro?
Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, at your Shiro Joestar, YouTube, Shiro Play 5.
Johnny Boy.
Gyarados Zekis.
Miss Mallory.
You can find me on Instagram at awesome_Mallory.
Which knows as you're drinking a
shot. As I'm drinking a shot.
And you traitor! And then of course I already did this earlier. I did this earlier on another podcast, so I told him it sounded weird doing it on another one. You can find all my stuff at social media at ZDRocker at all the places. SlimAsianEntertainment.com and DisconnectedCast.com, the main one. I recently shared our Spotify stats on our Facebook. It was really cool seeing that. 266% increase in subs, which, that's, I won't say the exact number for privacy reasons, but that's pretty good still. It's not as big, it's not like we got 266 new ones, but still, that's over last year where we already got quite a few. So that's really good. Number 1 country still Indonesia, listeners and everything.
What up, Indonesia?
Yeah, what's up, Indonesia? We got
that's interesting.
I like
Yeah, very interesting. And we've been broadcasting and listened to in over 10 countries since we started. So
what if we just get really huge in Indonesia?
We would have to move there then. That's the only logical thing. We'll have to go to Indonesia. A lot of people there speak English at least, so there's that. But, it depends. The scary places in Indonesia are very scary, but the nice places are very nice. So it's one of those polarized places. Yeah. But yeah, thank you, Indonesia, now that you hate us because I said that. But there's that.
I love you, Indonesia.
So, GTA Online launched forever ago. I didn't realize, I wasn't thinking about it until the other day, because I had to remember that the GTA 5 on PS4 and Xbox are technically a next-gen version. It was already out on PS3 and Xbox 360. It's crazy. They're doing a brand, it's the first geographical expansion, so they've just been adding events and guns and stuff like that, but they haven't added an actual land expansion to the game since it launched. So there's actually going to be part of their huge thing in their 7 years that it's been active, GTA Online. It's just crazy to think. 7 fucking years.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I have such mixed feelings about GTA Online, because I've played it before. I just hate the fact that to really enjoy it, you have to pay some real moolah. I just hate that. I mean, at least there's no subscription to get on. But at the same time, the amount of money you have to spend to get good, the amount of real-life money you have to spend to get your house, your digs, your cars, it's going to be a lot. Like, a lot of people spend a lot of money on this fucking game.
It's like
and I'm also like, this is why I feel I would take subscription over pay-to-play shit.
Yeah.
That's you? Or coffee?
Coffee.
Coffee.
COVID?
Okay. Oh no.
No, not that.
No.
Anyways, that update launches on December 15th for all those who play that. But they're going to be doing, again, they're going to add more land. They're going to be doing some new missions and stuff they haven't even revealed. They're also going to have a new club called the Music Locker, which is, for those of you who plays, be beneath the Diamond Casino and Resort. And in there, it's actually going to feature the appearances and mixes of actual DJs. Real-life DJs such as Bless Madonna, Sullen, Dixon, DJs Moody Man, anyone who's into that EDM scene hardcore and into those DJs. And you know all those guys, they're actually going to have their mixes and stuff in the game, which is kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yep, so that's kind of interesting. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is ready to take everyone's money again because it's just the same fucking game. It's just being re-released because they solved the whole license issue. So you got to rebuy that again January 14th. It's the January 14th is the...
When does this come out?
Not as many Skyrim.
So
this is like the second time.
The second
I think,
time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's only the second time,
but there was that awkward moment where I forgot. It wasn't even that long ago. It was probably within the past 3 years. They decided to add DLC.
I remember
They're like, you can
Okay.
play as who was his roommate? I forgot the name of his roommate. You can play as him, and then
right.
Lawrence.
So for the and it was funny when they
Lawrence.
Lawrence. I thought it was like Wallace or with a W.
Wallace, maybe.
I think Wallace.
well, Mallory will look that up,
I
and
will.
while she does that,
and then they added online
Right.
multiplayer, which
So-
should have been there from the beginning.
which should have been there from the beginning. And then the funny thing is, by the way, River City Girls should be there since the beginning. There should be online multiplayer. I just can't believe there's still no online multiplayer in River City Girls. Such a good fucking game. That's such a big flaw because they need that in there. That'd be a lot of fun if you didn't have to be, especially with COVID. It'd be very fun to play that remotely.
Yeah, it's
but-
Wallace.
Wallace, okay, cool.
Macaulay Culkin's brother.
But yeah, the funny thing is, when they released the DLC Shira was
they
talking
were-
about, they actually had it where they were just like, yeah, but, I mean, you still can't buy the game,
If you have
but
it,
if you
though,
have it, here's some DLC.
Yeah.
So it's really weird. They had to walk around that gingerly, because they're like, by the way, this doesn't mean we're re-releasing the game. It's just, blah, blah. Then in the past year, they announced that it's going to be re-released, not remastered.
With the DLC?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
If they do this and then charge it again, fuck right off.
yeah, that'd be weird.
That'd be really
It
messed
would be
up.
funny, like shitty, but kinda
Shitty,
funny.
but also kind of like you laugh sadly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's going to be that, and the January 14th is only for the digital version. The physical version still has no release date. So one of those you got to kind of juggle again if you want the physical one or not. Could be like Doom Eternal, and could just get for Switch and could just get canceled. We don't
Right. Yeah.
know. Persona 5 Strikers, the game that did not do too well in Japan, doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad game, but I will point out it is technically a direct sequel, and it still didn't pull people enough because of the gameplay style change. It's more a Musou Dynasty Warrior style game as opposed to your cool RPG stylistic. I'm sure the music's still great and the visuals are probably still great, but different play style. That's going to be launching on Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Steam February 23rd in the States. That was actually accidentally revealed, so they kind of just ended up having to blow their load. So they pulled down the trailer and then they just made an official statement. We're just like, yeah, I guess y'all saw that shit already. Yeah, it's coming out. So yeah, there you go. It's weird when companies, social media pages just make that mistake. Like you just accidentally blew your load. Like, really? Like, it's your one job. All you have to do is not post it? Like,
Right, like...
you would think that if it's a big reveal like that, you would have asked the boss a couple of times, so yeah, I do it now, right? I do it now? The post is right now, right? You would think, but apparently they just post whenever they want, just delete it, and then everyone saw it. And you know the internet. Within seconds, people see that screenshot, saved, everything. There's any way to check out that trailer.
Reposting it and all that stuff.
Yep. So it doesn't really matter if you take it back in your head. It doesn't really matter.
Well, boomers.
SNK, which I do not believe anymore due to the hostile takeover from Saudi Arabia, but they say that King of Fighters 15 is going to be the most ambitious KOF yet, which I'm scared that means it's going to be fucked up.
Right.
But the official reveal, and this is the thing,
It's going to be all Saudi propaganda.
It could be. I really hate when they kind of cast the line too far out all the time, because they're not even going to tell us when the game's going to come out yet.
Yeah.
So it probably won't be for a few years still. This game got revealed / teased years ago already, like a couple of years ago. It could be. But they did say that the first official reveal, whatever the fuck that means, probably one key art and then a trailer of like one fight, is going to be out January 7th, 2021. And from there, more details will be announced. So I hate this fucking cookie crumb shit.
Right.
Like, just tell me when it's out. I don't give a fuck. There's so many games coming out, brother.
Right.
I don't really care right now. So, Quick Resume, which is a really cool feature on Series X, has been a little fucked up since it came out because apparently they didn't quite have it as ready as they'd like, and then a lot of devs didn't really have the game prepared to go along with it. What Quick Resume is, for those who don't know, because I had someone trying to be an idiot and talk to me and be like, it already does that on PS4 and Xbox One. You can resume up to 3 games. Will stay open. You can open up to 3 games at a time.
Rather than
It's
just
just good. Exactly. So it's like the resume that it has now on current gen. I mean, last gen. But up to 3 games. Why you need that many? But it's a cool feature. Obviously, they're just dipping into that. They're like, we got so much goddamn RAM and an SSD, we can now. But it's one of those things. But
let's just mess with it.
so it's been disabled for a lot of stuff because it's been more of a glitch than not. It kind of like you'll switch games and it closes anyways, stuff like that. But it's been fixed for sure in Gears 5, Yakuza Like a Dragon, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla for now, and they will slowly enable it when it's 100% fixed for each game as it comes along.
Long Gears 5.
So there's that. Yeah, Gears 5. I talked about this with Daniel on his podcast. I have such a mixed feeling about the Gears series because it's been fairly consistently good with the exception of Judgment's the only one I didn't really like. But the weird thing with the current game and then the one before it, with basically the ones with the kids, which the characters are cringy, but the game's still fine, is all this weird advertisement that they've just been jamming in there. From Terminator, Dark Fate, now WWE, Batista was in there, and now the New Day's in there. And they're just shamelessly shoving. There's no story reason. It's just a cash grab. They're not even hiding it. They're just like, money, and then they're just like throw everyone in there. I don't like that aspect of it, which is unfortunately a pretty bad sell on that. But Gears 5 is fine. Yeah, we'll just see if Halo hopefully doesn't follow that same suit.
Gears is like the Slipknot of gaming. It's fine. It's great.
It's fine. Yeah.
Everybody had that phase.
Yeah, right. Josh and I talked about Sheer and I talked about this a bit earlier in the week off the cast, obviously, but Casey Hudson is leaving BioWare again. Yeah. Which
was Casey Hudson and someone else? I forgot the name, but there were 2 people.
It could have been. Yeah, Casey Hudson's one of the people that's left again. Left, came back, still shitty, leaving again.
Yeah.
Hudson was a big part of like the good Dragon Ages and everything, so I'm really worried that they're supposed to be doing this upcoming week the big Dragon Age reveal. I am so worried this game is going to be dog shit.
Yeah.
I have a few friends that are like super hyped, and I'm like, I see where you're coming from, but when you follow this news as much as I do, and you've seen Andromeda and Anthem, I wouldn't be as hyped as you, dude. I mean, the problem is, these are the same people who'd be like, I don't even care if they sell it in 3 parts, I just love the game. It's just like, you're the problem. This is why the industry is as fucked up as it is. Jim Sterling putting out a great video about why it's not good to go into the fucking, the status quo each generation, because you're just digging your hole deeper.
Yeah.
So you should go check out that video.
Huh? Like, did he make a statement?
No, just, probably just in case Hudson wants to come back again.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing I'm thinking. Oh, but, yeah, no exact thing. But total cumulative of 20 years with BioWare. So, been there for a while. So if they're leaving, that means that not great times.
It really sucks because
at BioWare.
Because I want Dragon Age 4 to be good.
I want it to be good because, again, for the most part, that game's pretty... I mean, even though I always talk about how I don't care for Dragon Age 2, as its weakest game, in my opinion, that's still a good track record then, because I still liked it. I just didn't care for it as much as I did 1 and Inquisition. So they've got a great track record so far, so I'd love for 4 to be good, but I am so weary because of everything going on with Anthem. And Andromeda was so broken when it came out.
Especially since Inquisition was really, really good.
It really stepped it up.
Yeah, actually, it was like the past week we were talking about Dragon Age 2, how I think the biggest flaw was the fact that there were so many reused environments and maps. But otherwise, the characters and the story was really, really good, in my opinion.
Right.
And then Dragon Age Inquisition, just, they took the great characters, great story, and then really expansive maps and areas. And,
so good. And I was so surprised, too, because I was just playing it because I like Dragon Age.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't necessarily have my bar too high. But I would like to say that even though that's how I was coming into it, I definitely do not take anything away from Inquisition, that they blew me away fairly. They didn't just blow me away because my standards were down. They blew me away regardless. I was just very surprised at how damn good Inquisition was.
Yeah, the gameplay was a lot more polished.
Yes, that was the main thing. Because especially if you play 1 here in 2020, it's a big jank. By the way, if you are going to play, on PC at least, Dragon Age... Origin, right, is what it was called?
Yeah.
Or Awakening.
Origin, and then Awakening was
Awakening.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're going to play that, make sure you have, and I'm not even fucking kidding you, you will not miss out on anything, even if it's your first playthrough. Make sure you put in the mod that lets you skip the fade, because the fade sucks ass. That is an experience that no one needs.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if it's your first time playing it. If you skip it, the game will be all for the better.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a really bad area that's just boring and... really doesn't add anything to the narrative.
I mean, the only really good thing about doing that and getting it out of the way is you get the permanent stat buffs.
Correct, that's true.
But with the mod, you still get that shit anyways.
That. And you get the cutscene at the beginning and the end, and then you just skip the whole goddamn thing.
Yeah. God,
Normally I'm not an advocate of that, but in this game, the fade's really bad.
I was very tempted to quit the game.
Yeah,
I went into
it's where a lot of people stop playing the game.
Yeah.
A game as good as Dragon Age Origin. That's where people will still drop it because it's that bad of a section.
I forgot how many playthroughs, but I've done the Fade multiple fucking times.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and it's just like, you start a new playthrough, it's like, alright, I'm just gonna do the Fade, get that shit out of the way.
Yeah, I think I only played it through on 360 once, and then the rest was on PC, so I had that mod installed every other time, thankfully.
Yeah. Actually, I think I might have... I think I have that game 2 times on PC. Because I think I got it on Origin, and then they had it on sale on GOG. So, I got it from there.
Man, GOG,
majority of my time was...
And I'll tell you what. Even if you don't want to support CD Projekt, if you buy stuff from GOG, since that's their company, that is a good way to buy a lot of your PC games if you do not want to be tied down to a DRM.
Yeah.
So you know... bad politics aside, and what you'll say about Witcher or Cyberpunk or whatever, but their GOG service, even their launcher, they've been doing Video Game Store better than Epic will probably ever do by the time Epic even gets an interface. Because their website isn't even working when the Epic Game Store launched, so there was that. Like, one of the main things, I think we talked about it, so I'm just going to, brush past it real quick, was like how there's no cart. And how you had to buy each game, go through the whole transaction, pay for it, go back, buy the next game, blah, blah, blah. And like Jim Sterling and Pat were talking about, in fact, Jim Sterling shared Pat's tweet about it, is he got flagged for fraud because he was buying so many games.
Yeah.
But he's like, but you don't give me the choice to, so
buy
this
all
isn't
at
fraud,
once.
so this is the way you're forcing me to do it. And then you slap me and go, fraud! You might be stealing money. It's like, no!
What?
You're the one making me do it this way. Yeah, so... I guess good their security part of all things at least works, but I mean, that's so stupid. Yeah, apparently he got locked out, he had to contact customer service, prove it was him, and all this.
Jeez, that's so stupid.
That's so dumb. And especially because at that point, the Epic Game Store had been like a week old, so we were already laughing at it, and it just had problems like that from the get-go.
Yeah.
No launcher, no anything, it's just really, it's a bad version of Steam.
Yeah.
Steam may have started off bad, but it's been good for a while now, so that benchmark is now there. You don't get to start at the bottom anymore.
Games.
Yeah, you can. It's surprising. Developers, Double 11, those who make Rust, has assured, because they haven't said anything in a while, they do claim Rust is still coming to console. They swear, we only can take developers' words so much, but they swear it's just because they don't want it to come out broken as fuck on PS4 and Xbox One. But my concern there is, that generation has just ended, and now granted, I'm still suggesting people stay on that generation for a while now, maybe for the next year, or maybe at least the next 6 months. There's no need to upgrade, so... But your window's closing, and you still haven't launched the game that everyone's been waiting for, because Rust is a great game, and people are waiting, and now the window of that generation ending is now starting to close, very slowly, but it's closing, and you still haven't released your game on it. The problem is, they could go, but if they try to shoehorn it onto PS5 or Xbox Series X, it could either A, be broken, or B, they might not just finish it again by the time this goddamn generation ends.
It's like at that point, they're just guaranteeing
it's a real shame. For those who don't know what Rust is, it's a really cool survival game where you just start naked, which I'm sure will be censored on the console version, but like straight up like your dick's hanging out and everything, and you're playing as a guy, like you're just a guy, and you get rocks, trees, and you make these primitive shack, and then like maybe a primitive sword, and you try to survive that way. As you go and you get more stuff and you develop more, you'll eventually move into the Stone Age. You're going to start using stones a lot, all the way up to having AK-47s and metal shelters and everything like that. You go from being fucking caveman status all the way up to being modern time guy as you develop. Your entire place that you make and everything, and you usually play with your friends, it's all constantly going. So you could log on one day and your whole house is raided. Mm-hmm. So you got to be very careful to keep yourself secure. Make sure to play as much as you can because your home is constantly available to everybody. Yeah. So you can usually wake up and just a lot that happened to a lot of people. And Conan Exiles is another good version of that. So that's a really good one too. My friend who got COVID, I guess he had a lot of time. Yeah. Was playing that during his sick time, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But that's another really good one, Conan Exiles. So yeah, I love stuff like that. It's very, very time consuming though. And you really do want to have multiple friends. I need to have like, if I know, Mal is always on in the afternoon, she can kind of craft and stuff. And it's really cool. You can go there and be like, Mal, if you could get me this amount of stone, this amount of ore, blah, blah, just leave it there. Tonight I'll craft all this stuff, then I'll get you that hammer by tomorrow. Then you can continue to, so you can co-op stuff like that if you're on at different times. Yeah. And you all have access to the same house and everything. So it's really cool.
It'd be cool if we could set something up like that.
I would really love that. And then finally, very short news week.
Oh, okay.
A final news story already.
That was super short.
Former director of Last of Us, Neil Druckmann, now co-president of Naughty Dog, has sucked his way to the top of the corporate ladder and is now co-president of Naughty Dog. Apparently he was like, he was really cringy about it. Like, apparently he was talking to the main president at the time, Evan Wells, and apparently he just kept like, that Last of Us game, huh? The one I was the director of?
That one?
The one that did really good. That Last of Us. Remember, right? That the really good... The Schindler's List of our time.
Patrick came over, put his hand on my shoulder, and started patting my shoulder.
Yeah, apparently...
Just to give you context
there's even a photo... Yeah. There's even a photo of him wearing a Last of Us Part 2 shirt while talking to Evan Wells, like leaning in and showing him something on the fucking phone and stuff. And basically, I'm sure Evan Wells was just like, you know what? As long as I don't promote you above me, we're good. And so now he is now co-president of Naughty Dog. So we'll see where the company goes from there, because if he fucks up, he can get fired really fast. But I don't know. Neil Druckmann, I've always had my fill of that guy, and I've just been done with him. But his attitude during Last of Us, being so high on being the Schindler's List of video games and stuff like that.
I kind of feel like he made himself a plaque.
Just that comparison tweet I showed you about the video game awards. Oh. Him and then the guy from Supergiant.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the contrasting attitudes.
Yes, exactly. And bingo, Shiro hit it right on the head. It's attitudes. The developers from Supergiant, Hades, Bastion, whatever, they're currently up for, they're up against the big dogs of gaming right now, which I'm so surprised, and I don't think they're going to win. I hope, but I'm just thinking of the world. Yeah. So their attitude's all, we're so thankful, blah, 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 blah. Humble. Whereas, like, Neil Druckmann's whole attitude is like, no shit. I mean, who else if not us? Right. And it's just like, what a douche. Like, fuck off.
I feel like he made it himself.
And the thing that's even more, so Last of Us is on that ballot. So it's Doom Eternal, Last of Us, Hades, Ghost of Tsushima, and
Animal Crossing?
Oh, yeah.
No.
So, no, not for this award. Okay. So what I meant by is Doom Eternal, Last of Us 2, and Animal Crossing should automatically be stricken from that ballot, because those are not worthy of this, the big fan pick. It really should be Hades or Ghost of Tsushima. Now, if I'm going to be realistic, it shouldn't even be Ghost of Tsushima. I'm just trying to give them a competitor.
Yeah.
Because Hades, the soundtrack, the visuals, the fact that Supergiant has been consistently good with every video game entry, and they just had that quality come back again, the fact that it's an actual labor of love and everything on there is literally a AAA studio just jerking off onto the disc and then shitting it out, or I guess in Animal Crossing's case, the cartridge. It's just, everything else is just corporate stuff. It's like corporate versus the indie darling. Yeah. So I really hope that Hades wins. Supergiant Games gets their due, but who knows. Now, to be completely fair, though, other games that I thought didn't have a chance, like last year, RPG of the Year, Disco Elysium, that was completely earned and a very hard-fought battle for such an indie game. Disco Elysium is fantastic. For those who are waiting for a Switch port, it has been confirmed. There's no release date yet. So Disco Elysium will be hitting the Switch. And hopefully that'll be a really good port, because that's a really great game.
Couldn't find it on the PlayStation market the other day.
I think it's still just on PC.
Really?
Yeah. But it's a really good game. Play disgraced cop, and you can do stuff like walk into a store naked and get thrown out, and your gameplay just ends there. It's one of those things where like the game can end several ways. You can just get yourself killed a lot of times, and that's where the game ends. So it's really cool. There's a lot of stuff you can do, and you have to play smart or not, and you can still kind of make your way, or sometimes you can play what you think is smart and lose. And yeah, but his story's really interesting. You're just a drunk disappointment, and you're trying to still prove yourself and why you should be, you know. And he's really he's a really depressing character, but the game itself kind of makes it fun, and you want to see this guy succeed anyway. So
rock bottom, baby.
But yeah, we'll see. I don't know when the Keighley Awards is, but we'll see.
I think it's the 10th, actually.
Okay, so soon.
Yeah.
Right when Cyberpunk drops. Go figure.
Allegedly.
So no one's gonna watch it. So no one's gonna be playing Cyberpunk.
Allegedly.
But yeah, we'll see.
Maybe we can set up like a video call for that day.
That'd be interesting. I would like to start doing.
I'm gonna be playing Cyberpunk.
Well, you don't have to be a part of it. Me and Patrick can do it.
Yeah, exactly. But regardless, yeah, a lot of reviewers and stuff will watch it and just kind of give their 2 cents about it, because it's a big event, and you know, if we do watch it, I mean, it is something that's important to see. The only problem is just how long it is.
I forgot how long ago it was, but I remember I was streaming it on Twitch, and Daniel and I were just watching it.
Yeah, and that's always fun.
Yeah.
And then there was the time that I didn't do the whole thing, but that's where I got my Final Fantasy VII Remake clip and said, oh, fuck, this isn't Shenmue, and all that stuff. So it's always fun. You can always get stuff out of it. So yeah, we'll talk. But yeah, we're excited. The problem with the Jeff Keighley Awards, aka the Video Game Awards, is it is just so corporate. A lot of it is... The last year was when they proved that Keighley can just have anyone win, because he had Death Stranding win, and then he had Kojima come on the stage, and it's just like, my buddy Kojima, congratulations. It's just like, fuck off. Like at that point, you might as well have just actually took a shit on the rest of the games that were up for nomination.
Yeah.
Because you obviously just wanted to suck Kojima in front of everybody and be like, my buddy here. So all you gotta do is become friends with Jeff Keighley and your game wins.
Let's go do that.
Easy.
I'm not gonna suck Jeff Keighley, but yeah.
No, I said.
And on that bombshell.
Okay,
Okay, yeah, there we go. I'm just kidding. Anyways, other than that, we will catch you guys. By the time you hear from us again, the Game Awards will have happened. John and I will at least, if you know, I know Shira's going to wait a bit.
I'm waiting a bit.
Wait. So John and I will have played at least some Cyberpunk by the time we record again, and we'll go from there and see how it is.
I'll watch Cyberpunk. My roommate's getting.
There you go. A lot of reviewers, I just think the complaints I've seen so far are just, you know, like one of the complaints was, there's a 46 gig day one patch. Like, how many games do that? Especially AAA games. A lot.
Like all of them.
I don't approve of it, but it's not like, at that point you are just scratching for criticism.
Right.
There's got to be some problems, and I'm sure. Now, apparently there are some technical foibles that are a little meh, but we'll see. So, these people who have their pre-release copies, maybe they haven't got the day one patch yet. So a lot of these, you do have to take that into consideration. Even though I didn't for Unity, because fuck that game, that you got to see how the game is without the day one patch, and that is just a fair way to rate it. But at least you do know that things could change come day one when the patch drops. So we'll see. Got to take that into consideration. But anyways, we will catch you guys sometime every week at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And until then, we will catch you guys later. See ya.
Bye.